Hi, my name is Kevin and I collect old irons. I'm looking at these miniature tailor goose irons. What were they used for? I mean, obviously they weren't used for ironing. Tailor shops were very common throughout the 1800s and well into the 1900s. Up to about 1870, almost all men's clothing worn by the middle to upper class were individually made by tailors. After about 1870, shirts and trousers were often machine made, but suits were generally tailored well past the year 1900. For the lower and lower middle class, clothes were probably handmade by housewives using, after 1850, the Singer sewing machine. For what it's worth, my first suit, which my dad had measured for me by a tailor when I was in high school, was handmade. All my subsequent suits, and most of my clothing in general, was bought at yard sales. Some years ago on eBay, I found this hand flyer with printing on both sides, which is advertising for 7 tailor and 2 hatter shops in New Haven, Connecticut. Some of these companies might have been individual or family businesses. Some are likely pretty large businesses that might have had a dozen or more employees making suits, hats, caps, but perhaps also trunks, bags, carpets, and leather furniture. In several past videos, we've seen these tailor irons, also known as goose irons, always of large sizes. But here we're talking about these much smaller irons. I mean, what were they used for? Were they toys? Salesman samples? No, these are items that advertise tailor trimmings, the cloth used to make the suits. These advertisements were designed to be used as tailor weights, to hold the cloth down while the cloth pieces were cut and sewn together. I have 5 of these tailor weights that are in the shape of tailor irons. Many collections are also out there with as many as 20 or more. The ones I have are these 2, largely similar, but the others are all from separate manufacturers, judging by the somewhat different shapes, sizes, and the handles as well. These are marked not by the manufacturer's name, but by the company that marketed the tailor trimmings and probably gave these to the tailors as advertisements. This one, slightly smaller in size in comparison to my others, has a fairly fancy cast handle. The top is labeled the John L. Bobo and Company, New York and Chicago tailor trimmings. For this example, I think the base and handle were cast separately and combined while the base was still hot. This one advertises the Max O. Wertheim Company tailor's trimmings and is from Cleveland. This was cast as a single piece and nickel plated. This one is fairly common and the value here might be $50 to $80 or more. The remaining 3 that I have all have wrought handles. This one is twisted much the way many of the tailor irons were, and these handles were then combined with the cast base. This advertised the John M. Hayes Woolen Company on both sides and is from St. Louis. The other 2 have markings on the top. This also marked Joseph M. Hayes Woolen Company, St. Louis, and this other one of similar design advertises the J. A. Griffith and Company, Baltimore. There are some fancier tailor weights that illustrate goose irons. The goose irons here are cast in one piece and then riveted to a horseshoe-shaped base. This one is marked the Charles Coxshoot and Company, and this one is the Thomas Ogilvy and Son. Another tailor weight that illustrates a tailor iron is this one, which is labeled on the top as the L. Simonson tailor trimmings from Los Angeles, California, and it illustrates a rose iron, a rose tailor iron, and I have one of those right here. There are other tailor weights that advertise companies that sell tailor trimmings without illustrating a old iron. This one is marked L. Fox and Sons Tailor Supplies with an address in New York. Here are 2 others, obviously made by the same company. This, a somewhat smaller example, advertises at Dillhoff Meyer and Company, Cincinnati. I also have 2 circular tailor weights that advertise the Cumnar Jones and Company. One is marked Chicago and the other is marked Boston. And here's an unusual one. This is made of glass inscribed on the bottom, and I can look through the top and I can read the Baker, Mayer and Company with an address in Cleveland, fine tailor's trimmings. There are others of these in a general size and shape of the tailor weights, but which are unmarked. Here you've got to ask yourself, is it a tailor weight or is it a paperweight? And I've seen some on eBay of this general shape and size that are labeled as tobacco box weights. So these, I'm not sure exactly how these tobacco box weights might be used, but it might be that these were within the leaves in a tobacco box used to flatten out the leaves. Just a guess. There are also some other items that are probably not tailor weights. This is obviously a tailor's goose iron. It's hollow on the inside, and I think this is probably merely a gift from a tailor shop. And then this likewise might be something used for detail work, or it might have been designed as a toy. So the general large size and weight of irons, and the tailor irons particularly, is intimidating to some, but there are quite a lot of people who collect the old iron smalls, that is the toys, the salesman samples, and the tailor weights. And as of earlier today, we have passed 100,000 views in the Kevin Talks Iron series. Yeehaw! We've also finished this display in our old porch, now Kevin's office and additional iron room. And if you can, please continue watching these, adding to our viewer count, giving us your comments and so forth, and we'll keep doing these. Thank you very much.